Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvellously well. I'm sitting here at 206 Studios with Ben Burget and Robert Sput. We met the other day for the first time at the Village, which was a lot of fun. I mean,
super fun.
Oh, what an incredible room.
Yeah, great place to record and just the atmosphere period there.
Yeah.
Stuff that's happening there, stuff that's happened before now alone makes the atmosphere of that place, very.
Plus upstairs, we walked upstairs and Peter Erskine's like just happens to be jamming upstairs.
I've been really mopping.
Yeah. That was absolutely incredible.
That was cool.
So how long have you guys had the studio together?
Well, this is his baby. I've come aboard as a friend to support everything he does, but we ended up doing business together because we do a lot, and obviously, we're roommates, so I stay.
I think you've been here for about 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah.
About 7 years.
It's been...
The studio, I finished building it about 8 years ago, like maybe a year before he came in.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So.
And I do everything here. So, I mean, if I don't do something here, it's just because I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Now, you're a horn player. Did you meet playing together? Is that how you met each other?
We met because of Snarky Puppy is how we met. I went to North Texas and I lived in the dorms with all them before Snarky Puppy started. So those are all some of my best friends from college, from 2001 to 2004. Great. And so just having them come, I would go to shows 10, 11, 12, 13 years ago and he'd be playing. And so, that's how we all originally met.
It's like one of those things, you don't know the exact point. You don't even remember the exact point, but we just been, as far as I can remember, we've been friends. He's been a cool guy, and I think when I would come to LA or be here, working on projects, he would invite me over to do sessions for some of his friends, and one thing led to another, and we ended up just doing a lot of work together. I mean, including him in most of the stuff that I've been doing. He mixes all the Zildjian live stuff and all the Vic Firth jam stuff that I do, and all of the records with Ghost Note, everything involved. His hand is on it, so.
It's high praise indeed.
Yeah.
And then it comes to drum sessions. If people hire you to track on this stuff remotely, you're tracking it all here?
Yeah. I mean, all my gear is here, so.
Great.
I mean, and we've developed a sound for my drum sound, just in this room alone. And then when it gets mixed, it gets enhanced. So yeah, so it's been a beautiful thing to evolve this situation. We're just trying to do everything we can to make it better. Like we got endorsement with a couple of mic companies, Earthworks.
Earthworks, great, yeah.
One, and they take care of us. They send us mics, I mean, we use them for drums, guitar amps, or whatever we can, use. But, he collects mics, so he can tell you more about that side of it.
Yeah. Well, we'll do a little gear tour and see what we've got.
No problem. I record here a lot. I also engineer at some other studios, and then I do a lot of mixing for stuff. I mean, most of the stuff I record here in general, I mix. Every once in a while, there's certain projects that, we send out the door. Right. But, and then getting a lot of calls to mix projects all over the world right now. So I'm also a musician and multi-instrumentalist. So a lot of the people are peers and musicians. So I've been really fortunate to not have random bands in here in general. Right. It's mostly, musicians that I admire and are cool.
It's a wonderful thing to have a peer group that's all incredible players.
Yeah, it really is. Makes things a lot more enjoyable.
So tell us a little bit more about your setup.
So I'm running an Avid HDIO, which is 16 by 16 analog, and then I have it attached to an Avid Omni. So I currently have 20 inputs. Nice. I'm in a couple months actually going to be going up to 32. But yeah, and then so everything's literally just single pre's running. So I've got 4 APIs. I've got the Avalon 737 and M5. I've got 2 BAE 1073s. Yep. 2 channels of Pacifica, and then I've got this True Systems 8-channel pre, and then I also have an old from the 50s, an old Ampex tube, which is a 42.
Great. Are you using the APIs on like the kick and the snare?
Kick, snare, overheads.
Overheads.
Like 99% of the time is what I'm using those on. Rest of the kit depends on the rest of like what's going on. If I'm doing only drums or if I'm not, because with my Neves, I always like to throw the bass through the Neve. So
right.
Might have a room mic through there, but usually the hi-hat and my toms either go through the Pacifica or the True Systems. Sometimes I have the hi-hat on the M5 right now, which is kind of overkill, but yeah. So, and then I don't use a lot of outboard gear other than that. I've got the two DBX 160As.
I love those.
And I'll track them. I'll track using those, but subtle. I'm big on not too much as far as, I mean, I don't have a lot of other gear to do that.
Sure.
So,
So you leave the compression EQ for when you're mixing.
in general, yeah. And kind of go, I got really lucky that I studied and have a mentor. His name's Gary Lux, and he was head music mixer at Universal for years, and worked with, I mean, his list is ridiculous. But
You're also blessed to have a great drummer that knows how to tune drums and actually
hell
hit them
yeah.
properly.
This is
Something that cannot be underestimated.
And the other musicians that come in, it's such a, it is, people don't understand how huge that is. Of course.
I think I have the conversation every day. People ask me, how do you get a great drum sound? Start with a great drummer with a kit that's tuned properly.
But then the old school Al Schmidt way is like, if something doesn't sound good, you move the microphone.
Yeah.
Like you can get so many tones just moving something an inch, let alone 5 or 6, and use your ears. And also being a musician, one of the things that I really strive for, and I work with a lot of live musicians here, and especially I do a lot of jazz sessions and stuff like that, is to listen to what the tone before what it sounds like here. So when I'm, trying to capture natural tones,
Sure.
it's especially when people work so hard on what they sound like.
Yeah.
It's nothing worse than I go to play sax and go in there and I go and control them and it sounds like a duck. It's just like, but it happens.
I've heard saxes that sound like ducks. It's a good analogy.
And I promise I don't sound like a duck. So
I see you have one of the Avid. Is that an Avid control system?
yeah, this is the Avid Artist mix with the control.
So you obviously like working with faders still.
I do. I
That's
do.
good.
Especially when I'm tracking. It's just nice to just have it all out.
Yeah.
On the mixing side, I tend to use a lot. Like I might just do automation on one fader and then mouse it, because I'm still a lot faster with the mouse.
So can I take a guess that you grew up using the Mackeys, so that's why you're still using them?
That I'm actually not using the Mackeys. Those are
use them anymore.
speaker stands.
Ah, okay.
For my Adams.
Just because when I see people with Mackeys, like Billy Decker still mixes on Mackeys, and he's an amazing mixer.
I like that. I like them, but I mean, to be honest, one of them is actually messed up.
Right.
So, but I needed something to get my Atoms up.
So you're mixing
because
with
I got the room all tuned and stuff, and it was the best position for the Atoms was up.
Nice.
So yeah, I mix with the 2 Atoms, and then I have an Atoms 10 sub underneath as well. Jazz, I turn the sub off in general, but everything else, you gotta. I mean, for me, I gotta know what's going on down low, especially if I'm mixing a lot of stuff that has a lot of extension down there. If you can't hear it, you can't hear it.
I mean, I love where music's going at the moment, where people are taking electronic stuff and mixing with real instruments, which is just fantastic. So you're getting a lot of that, like your Sput tracking live drums on stuff that's got a lot of programmed elements.
Totally.
You're seeing a lot more of that?
Yeah, I do a lot of it. We don't do that on my personal stuff, but for people that ask me to track drums, normally they have like a loop or something.
We'll layer, yeah.
That I'll play too, or something like that.
And then the JBLs?
I just have them up there. I've also tuned them. They're really clean, and this is a standing desk, so I can raise this all the way up. So sometimes I'll stand and do editing and certain things.
Right.
My critical when I'm mixing, I sit, but there's so much other stuff that I'm sitting all day. So I wanted to be able to raise this all the way up and stand and still be able to hear something up here.
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense. Yeah, I find with the smaller speakers for the high-end hype is good for editing, trying to hear the clicks and pops and stuff. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But these are the JBL 305s, I think for the price for that size speaker, there's nothing that comes close to them.
Oh, great. How much are they a pair?
Like a couple $100, I think.
Yeah, that's cheap. We got like what,
200?
6?
I have 3 pairs of them in the house.
Oh, wow.
I've got some in his room. I've got another mix station in my room with my laptop, so I can mix in there as well.
So you know them well?
Pretty good. But I mean, I love the Atoms. It's what I've been mixing on since I've started mixing, so it's what I know the best.
Great.
And
for the room treatment, how did you figure out all the
well,
placement?
my technician, Ralph Skelton, that trained me basically told me where I needed to do stuff, and with measurements, and we did the whole mirror with a sticky on the side so we could find out first reflections for the sides, and I've got stuff behind the speakers, and then the rest of it was more of an experiment with just trying to get the room controlled, and had a couple guys come and pinged it over the years as I moved stuff. And
then what about using anything like SonarWorks on the speakers?
that's what I'm using now. I just did that maybe a couple years ago or a year ago, and that is a major difference for me on the mixing side.
Oh, fantastic.
It can be a little weird with the SonarWorks tune because it makes the listening position here amazing, but then it hypes up other places in the rest of the room, where before the shitty place was here and the rest of the room sounded amazing, which was great for people in the room, you know, so it's
not so good for you.
I've been having to deal with that a little bit, but SonarWorks is amazing. It has the mix wet knob, so if people are listening out here, I'll just dial it back some, so then it opens up.
Right, fantastic.
So, yeah.
Well, you have a cloud above, I see that. You've got bass traps back there.
And the closet is also a giant bass trap.
Oh, yeah.
I took the closet doors off because I was getting mad reflections from the doors.
Right.
So my technician had the idea of open it up and let's create a bass trap.
Nice.
And so if you
Eric's
really
sitting in the bass trap.
If you really want to hear a lot of bass, you just sit back in the closet and you'll get nailed. But it's you know, everything helps. The ultimate goal is that my listening position while I'm mixing sounds the best.
I see you got some fun stuff over here. These dynamites, for instance.
Yeah,
those
those
are fantastic.
need to be hooked up. They're not hooked up right now. I'll definitely be hooking up both of those, the Valley People.
It's very like an LA thing. You go into old LA studios, they always have these Valley People dynamites.
And I'll hook up, I'll probably take the DBX 166. The rest of the stuff, I probably will never use, to be honest.
I suppose now everything's so in the box, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up obviously with the SDE 3000s, and you know, in fact, that's a pretty cool unit.
I've got 3-4 racks of all this stuff in the garage. More since
Stuff you had 20 years ago that you just don't
it
use.
was actually a producer from Reno that retired his studio.
Oh, wow.
And we've been really good friends for a long time, and so he didn't want to sell it, but he didn't have any place to have it, and so
Right.
he donated some gear to me, which is
Great. What is this? Furman Sound LC2.
It's a limiter. I honestly have no idea, to be honest.
That actually might be really amazing. I think, remember Shelley Yakus said it was the Thurman. That was the sound of the lead tone on Romeo and Juliet. He said he got this old Thurman, and that's how he got this tone.
That's pretty cool.
They tried tons and tons of like different amps and different combinations, and ended up just plugging into that.
Well, I might have to be one of the next things I hook up.
I'll take a picture of it and send it to him.
Cool.
Is that a Softtech?
This is an M-Audio Sputnik.
Oh, wow. I've never actually seen
That's my mic. That's my mic.
That's
It's your mic, Sput.
I have 3 of them. Tube mic.
And? You like them?
It's one of my favorite vocal mics.
Are they
I use
affordable?
it all the time. M-Audio made this one series, I think, about 10 years ago, and then they just retired the whole mic line. I think that's when Avid and all them bought each other out, whatever. And at the time, they were, I think, brand new. They were like $800 to $1,000, and I've bought 3 of them used for $300 or $400.
Oh, okay.
You can find them. That's why I bought 3 of them, because
And what are they called again? What?
it's the M-Audio Sputnik.
Good name.
And I mean, when we go back in, I can show you some samples. So
No, I'd love to hear it.
yeah, I've got a bunch of BOSs. I've got 3 of them.
Yeah. C37s.
My C37As.
Harold.
So I've got two. They're not a matched pair. One is a solid state power supply, and the other one's tube.
How different do they sound with the power supply?
They do sound quite a bit different. I cannot use them as dual, but
Right.
I use it on upright bass to lead trumpet. I mean, it is probably my favorite mic that I have here.
Oh wow, that's
It's just so versatile.
these are the slates.
These are some Sterling. These are Sterling audio.
Sterling audio.
And I've just recently acquired some of these. I had a friend that really liked them, and they're also really cheap, and so just bought them to see how they were, and I'll use them for rooms, usually, just some rooms. We have all the Earthworks mics.
Oh yeah, let's check these out.
These two.
We have one of these, don't we? We have a pair of these we use for measuring and into measuring rooms. They're really super accurate.
Oh yeah.
So are you using these as room mics?
I'm for the drum stuff in general here. I'm mainly just using tom mics.
Right.
I'm not using the overheads and stuff as much.
Right.
I'll use them for like percussion and stuff like that.
Right.
For drum miking, I have these two 414 BLSs that I love the sound of them. They're extremely versatile I can jazz to pop. I mean, I can get the sound that I want.
Nice.
You know. And then also this is probably my other favorite mic is the original RCA 44.
Beautiful.
Which also that mic literally you can put it on anything. It just sounds so good.
And then these KSMs, the Shores.
That's those are the KSM 32s, I believe.
32s, right.
I've got a pair of 27s in the closet. Then a pair of RCA 77s and some couple 451s. I've got a bunch of 421s. Sometimes for jazz, sometimes I'll put the 421s on toms instead of the Earthworks. It just depends. So
I was just looking. It's like a Craftsman, isn't it? The house. It's got this kind of, which is great. You've got the ceiling like this. So
when I bought the house, I had zero intentions of building a recording studio. I didn't. I'm a musician.
Yeah.
Had the house, and then as I actually started working with a singer-songwriter, and long story short, we went and wrote I also play piano, and so we were touring and doing a bunch of sessions at different producers' places and whatever, and they were doing it for free, and then we could never get the songs to be what we wanted, and so I was like, maybe we could do something here. I mean, it started with the Digio 3 in there. It was supposed to be a little 16 channels running there, and that's going to be it, and then kept going because I kept seeing the potential.
Sure.
And then,
I remember the
then meeting Sput, and so it's just I just went full bore ahead.
That's fantastic.
So it's I do string sessions into here. It's really versatile. I can pull up the carpets because I got all the wood floors. I built all the acoustic treatment here. I built all my gobos. Everything's on wheels.
Great.
So all this stuff, I can open it up. So we've done big sessions where everything's open.
Great.
I've done
How are your neighbors?
That's the best part about Van Nuys. Been here 14 years, not one complaint. We've recorded till 3 a.m. here.
Yeah.
And it's not soft outside. But
well, I mean,
I have great neighbors.
But also it's really well isolated to the point where if you're outside, you can hear everything going on. But if you're inside your house,
you probably can't really
can't hear much of it.
Great. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love these GoPros. You built all these?
I built them myself, yeah. And so
I'll be hitting you up. You can build me some.
Close these out. This actually will shut off here.
Right.
And a lot of times, like for jazz sessions, acoustic bass will be here. So you can see horn players usually over here, rhythm section here, and then I have the master bedroom over here. Has 20 lines running to it, and it's big enough. I mean, we can go in there. It's messy, but.
Right. One of those things can block this. I've actually recorded drums in here. I'm gonna pull this stuff away, but I've got
20 channel patch bay underneath here. So this room is usually guitar amp room.
Great.
So you can be out there, amps in here. If we got 2 guitar players, I put on each side of the closet and gobo it off. Or put percussion in here. I also treated this room really dead, like the most dead out of all the rooms. So if you want something really tight or acoustic guitar, no room, you just want real, put stuff in here.
Great.
Vocals.
And you can mix in here. You've got
and then I also have Yeah, mixing. I got my Apogee Symphony. It's basically my mobile mixing rig, but I set it up here while it's here. So.
Is that a massager for your feet?
It sure is.
Nice!
The reflex roller.
What's this? SLP? Oh, it's a Tama.
Yeah, so I play with Tama, so this is their version of the accolade.
Right.
This is a signature Spectacular
Nice.
Walnut Star series, Star Walnut series. This is a tribute to the guy that also played in ToTo, which is Simon Phillips' signature snare.
Oh.
And this is 15.
Your deep snare?
15 by 8 deep snare.
Wonderful.
Star Reserve from Tama, and it's also a signature.
What model do you use live?
It varies, but right now I think I'm using the Black Beauty, the Big Black Steel from Tama, and I think Starphonic, a deep Starphonics.
Great.
Yeah, I mean it changes though. It keeps changing actually, the more. Because, especially like this is the first time I played this genre of music where the tone needs to be really thick and deep, but also pop. So it's been an experiment to just kind of going through all of the options of snares that you know. I never had to do that with Tama. I always had a sound and knew exactly how to go, with what it was. And, when you're doing sessions and stuff, it's different because, even though you're an artist, I mean, like, if you go to the studio, you're gonna play, like, the shit that's there,
Sure.
If it's an old Ludwig kit from the 1960s, I'm gonna play that kit, If it's a Tama from the 1960s, I'm gonna want to play that too. But, it's all about getting the right sound when you're in the sessions, It's not about,
Totally.
Can't play it, I don't believe in that kind of stuff, but I do support, Tama because they, when it's time to go on the road and make a living and be a professional, that's the sound I like. That's the sound I want to have behind me.
It's my brother's, the Pearl kit.
The white kit?
Yeah.
Is this your signature series kit as well?
Yeah, it's Star Walnut. I have like 3 versions of this kit all around the world.
Depending on where you play?
Well, I have one in Dallas, and same dimensions and same extract, versions of it. There's different versions, but same color and stuff like that. And then one overseas.
What cymbals do you use?
Minel.
Minel. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. That is one of my favorite companies to work with too, because they actually literally make and manufacture everything from their own source, their own plant, So it's been cool to work with a company like that, and then you can just like ask for stuff and say, hey, can you try this idea out? And they don't have to, think about, other companies that they're in. Cool.
They'll make it specifically for you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. When I lived in the UK, I remember seeing mine all over the place.
Yeah.
Not as much here, so it's good to hear the name here.
Well, I think in the UK or in Europe, period, Minel is more accessible than most other companies because it's right there. But here in the States, it's Zildjian, obviously, but Minel, Minel is one of the best out there as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
And then of course you got a Louis Vuitton pillow.
That's new. I actually haven't even really seen that.
The Kick Pro.
Yeah.
That's.
You just get that.
So you just put that in there to deaden the head.
Yeah, sometimes we get bougie a little bit, We get a little bougie. Sometimes you want to flex a little bit, but yeah. Kick Pro company,
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how much damage this does to the kick drum, but
I don't think I haven't tried it yet. So.
We haven't tried it yet. But yeah, it's here if we need it.
I like the jukebox.
It's the best part of the room.
Yeah, an old Wurlitzer. Where'd you find this?
My dad's best friend rebuilds jukeboxes up in Seattle, and they moved houses and ended up selling this one to my dad. So it's I believe 1937. It's the first.
old.
It's the
Doesn't look
first
50s,
one that
yeah.
lights up actually, which it actually doesn't light up at the moment.
Oh, we
Does it
actually
work?
got it to work.
It did work. I messed it up.
That wasn't even that long ago.
I need to get. We were gonna have it rebuilt right before the pandemic started, and then because of the pandemic, the guy wouldn't come pick it up. So
You got it loaded with records?
yeah, it's a bunch of just old Andrew Sisters and Sinatra and all the good stuff.
Some Kenwood speakers,
I've had these for a long time.
some AKGs.
Yeah, the 451s, the EBs.
What do you use those on?
On hi-hat and sometimes a cymbal,
Right.
depending on what it is.
Subkick?
Sub kick. We had to black out the Yamaha because he's Tama. So when we have videos, it doesn't say Yamaha in front of the Tama.
It's actually a Thomas up kit.
It's a Tama sub kit, yeah. We need to write Tama on it.
Do it in chalk.
No, it gets tricky sometimes because I'm a Tama artist, and
Right.
I'm also a Yamaha artist.
Oh,
But I'm a Yamaha electronics and Tama drums. Just like I'm a vinyl artist, but in a sense also a Zildjian artist.
Because
Because
Big First.
Zildjian owns Big First. Big
okay.
First, and they're pretty much the same company. So all my reps are the same. So
Gets tricky.
it gets tricky, yeah. But at the end of the day, they're all just products, man. They all make great things.
That's cool. Where'd you find that?
That was a gift from, I think, my aunt or my parents. It's the same with this one over here, the sax one.
Do your
art.
parents play music?
No, well, my mom played piano and sang, and my dad sang. They still
definitely love it.
sing. He used to play trumpet, but my grandpa was a professional saxophone player, and so that's how I started playing saxophone. My alto's 1939 balance action Selmer
From him?
from him, yeah. So
It's nice.
that's
a nice gift.
that definitely was, music was in the family and in the blood, and was inspired.
But what about you? Did you grow up with a musical family?
Oh, of course,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. My
It's the whole
entire family. Mom, dad. My dad played. He's an opera singer.
Wasn't your first Grammy? It was with your family, wasn't it?
Yeah, when my mom
His mom's group.
started a choir, and my dad used to direct choirs at churches. I grew up in a black church and always had musicals to go to, like at churches and stuff like that. And my parents would be at the forefront of directing the choirs and stuff like that. So when I got to high school, me and my mom had a choir, along with my sisters, and we ended up, having a hit record. And when I turned 20, I had a Grammy from that record.
That's a nice start.
pretty
20,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
Congrats.
yeah.
Pretty cool.
And what about the others?
Other Grammys?
Yeah.
Just from work, just after, I think 4 of them might be with Snarky, actually. 4 of them are with Snarky, and then I had two more with working on a project called The Pimple Butterfly. Yeah, with Terrace Martin.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Grammys this year? What was freaking awesome?
I actually didn't watch them.
What?
Yeah.
We had a fundraiser.
Yeah, I was at his show.
We had a fundraiser on the same night. I mean,
That was the night after. Yeah, that was the next night on Sunday.
The Grammys kept getting changed. It kept on, going, the dates changing, because of the COVID situation. So
That was in Vegas.
yeah, so it was in Vegas, but we had a couple days off, on this tour, and we work with this foundation called the Harold Robertson Foundation, and they do a lot of things in the community to help underprivileged kids, like in Watts and Compton and surrounding areas like that, to be able to get out of the neighborhood and be exposed to nature, and to take them up in the mountains, and they teach them skills. And it's quite an amazing thing for those kids who live in a box, literally. You know, they literally live in projects and unfortunate situations, and they're forced to be enemies in that environment, but then they all come together in a whole different environment and realize that they could like each other, they could mingle with one another without the street rules and stuff like that. So this foundation is doing this stuff every year, having these camps, and so we fundraised to help them a lot, and that was the night we did it, and I thought it was good. We raised $50,000.
Wow!
You know,
where did you do it? Where did you do the show?
The Bourbon
Room in Hollywood.
It used to be the old
It was a studio.
R&B Live place, which was a very popular place in LA, in Hollywood. But it used to be called R&B Live, which is
50K is great for a venue that size.
Yeah, it was. I mean, donors come in and donate money for the cause. But we had a party. We dedicated the night as a musical night to the '80s. That time period, funk '80s. Yeah, so it was funky '80s.
A lot of Prince.
No, we didn't play not one Prince.
You didn't play one Prince from the '80s?
Oh yeah, we did. We played one.
Which one?
Love Bizarre.
Huh?
And I guess Glamorous Life. He had something to do with that, I'm sure. But yeah, Love Bizarre. We did play Love Bizarre. But we played one Michael Jackson song. We played a Jermaine Jackson song. Let's Get Serious, which was fun. But it was like a lot of the cuts that, not the main cuts. We played like some of the stuff that is fun to play that no one ever covered, that everybody know and love. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So, needless to say, we didn't catch the Grammys because of that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a worthy reason.
I mean, Grammy is good, but all my friends didn't win. So
yeah, this year.
I was like, it's whatever. Most of my friends, especially Mark Lettieri, a guy that I play with Snarky a lot, Corey Henry from Snarky a lot. All those years I played with him. I wanted them to get it. I want them to win. They deserve it. They deserve. But those are things like it's a win just being there. So, if they got there, they'll get back, and hopefully next time they'll get it.
Totally.
But it's encouraging because I desire my own project to do something like that too as well. In this day. I did that before, but this, the stuff that I'm working on now, I'm the most proud of. So.
Great. Yeah. I was just encouraged by the Grammys that there was so much musicianship.
Yeah.
It was like all live stuff. Yeah. It doesn't matter if there was rap or not. Everybody was playing.
Yeah.
So many players.
Well, I think there's something to be said about that. Like, more and more of the artists that are out now, even in the hip hop community, are musicians. Yeah. Like they either frustrated musicians or grew up in church being musicians and became artists, or they are musicians, literally musicians. And I think that is helping us get back to true musicianship and artistry, and not just a gimmick, just because you look a certain way or you have a sound, But, I think it's getting back there. And I mean, it feels good to see that,
I agree. John Baptiste winning was just huge.
Yeah. And knowing that, John Baptiste, he hasn't been the artist. He's been the artist, 3 years?
Yeah.
He just started, during the pandemic, right after, like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Piano player and next,
he just started doing this stuff, and then,
God bless him.
That's very encouraging. It's very encouraging, he was a music director on a television show, it was, it's very, very encouraging that that can happen. And he spreads a really good message, too.
Very much so.
Like positivity, inclusion, diversity, and inclusion with everyone. Yep. Like females, and males coming together, coexisting in environments that we're not used to seeing. Like usually you see a band, you see all guys, female lead singer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
3 girls singing backgrounds.
Oh yeah, 3 girls singing backgrounds, but it's all intertwined, and it's His shit is really amazing. It's nice. I have a couple friends that were playing on that. That I did see the clips to his performance.
Yeah, it was amazing. He sits down and he's like,
yeah,
and he just runs up there. It's incredible. Yeah.
The bass player is one of a really good friend of mine.
Who's the bass player?
His name is Thaddeus Tribute.
That's a name.
Yeah, Thaddeus
That's
Tribute.
Very cool, man.
But he's he lives in Dallas, Texas. He's from Philly. He's from Philadelphia, but he lives in Dallas, Texas now, and he's like he's one of the baddest bass players out there. But his energy is amazing, and I mean it's fun to watch him. It's fun. You definitely recognize him if you see it again. He was high stepping.
Yeah, no, I remember that whole band was just super high energy.
And my friend's daughter is the drummer in that band too as well. So it's really fun to see that.
This features David Page. Sput wrote this song.
No one can see who you really are. Counting up your sheep, praying on the week. Trying to step to me, boy, you're gonna lose some teeth. I ain't your snack, no, I ain't your treat. I ain't your Robin Hood or your Bo Peep. I had it shook like, 'cause you're so crook like. I see you.
That was Phil Laster. He's the trumpet player and plays keys and producer.
Remember when Prince had the 15-piece horn section?
Yeah.
He was the director of that horn section. He was the arranger, not the director, but...
This is one of the bigger mixes I've done. For this artist, Laura, she did this live performance of This Is
United?
Me. This is at Warner Brothers.
I am not a stranger to the dark.
This was actually my first official orchestra mix I've ever done.
Who's the singer?
Laura Dickinson.
I've learned to be ashamed of
Love her.
all my scars. Run away, they say. No one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place.
Is that the actual live recording?
All live, yeah. One solid take. We didn't comp anything.
When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me.
My mentor, as Gary Lux has done so many orchestras over his lifetime, and so since I'd played in orchestras, but I hadn't ever mixed one, you know, I was like, I was a little overwhelmed at first because I didn't know where to start. Right. I'll show you the raw tracking session from their new record, Ghost Note, that nobody's heard any of this yet. It's not mixed, it's just...
So we shouldn't be live streaming it?
No, you can. You don't care, right?
Nice. Who are the horns?
The Ghost Note horns. Monez and Jelani and Sly.
Nice. Feel like I'm in Oakland.
This is raw. This is raw. This is from that day.
Great. All that laughter and talking on the clap track.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did like 28 tracks or something like that.
Yeah.
30 tracks.
I mean, what was the writing process?
I just wrote the songs and taught it to them, and then we pretty much laid down everything we learned.
To chart this out, or do you just teach it in real time?
No, we got a thing. We don't like charts,
Right.
so we don't because we react to one another.
Right.
And so if you're reading, you can't react to people. So we always trying to pride ourselves in being quick
He'll
on our
teach them
toes.
sections.
So I'll teach
sections
I'll
and then they'll
basically-
rehearse it and then patch it together, and then eventually it's
I
the whole
track
song.
most of the stuff out in Logic and send it to them, and everybody kind of do their
like
homework.
MIDI demos, yeah.
And then we come in and we kind of dissect it from that standpoint. But some of this stuff was written like on the spot. And
That's
recorded.
that's one of my favorite things with this band is because everyone's a part of it, even though he might have written it.
Yeah.
They collab, and the magic happens when you guys get together.
Well, and some of the other stuff that's on here, someone else wrote a part and didn't have a complete song, and I just would take it and just like,
Turn it into
fill it
something.
out. Let them see some of the Zildjian live stuff.
Great.
So they tracked it. I mixed it here. 8 drummers in one day.
8 drummers in one day.
All Ghost Note, the band. Him playing puts on keys and MDing and arranging it all. Did you write this?
I arranged it.
So these are all the guys that you just heard on the record. Here's me playing tenor, and I also mixed this. So the year before this, we did Zildjian Live, and then, no, we did VF Jams, and then the next day we did Zildjian Live, because Vic Firth and Zildjian are the same company. And so we just staggered, 8 different drummers each day. VF Jams was a different band than Zildjian because Zildjian was Ghost Note, and so I played horns on these sessions. Yeah, that was great.
You played horns and you mixed it?
And I mixed it, yeah. There's two series of these also.
So funny. He was so nervous.
Me?
Peter was nervous.
I was pretty nervous too. On this one.
There you are.
We did Dennis Chambers, Benny Greb,
Ashone.
Ashone.
You know him?
Ash
Ash.
from England.
Yeah, play him.
Just before you lose it, understand you're tripping on a cocktail of delusion. Oh, wait a minute, you're gonna need someone to validate your extra shit. Validate it.
This was a hard vocal to mix because he's in the middle of all of them.
I was wondering how you would do that.
10 feet away from the drums.
God, he was on a dynamic.
I'd have to open it up to even see what I did. I don't remember it. I just remember it being tricky.
Tell me, what am I supposed to believe? You try my soul, acting like I'm not supposed to leave.
How much rehearsal for each?
Tell me what
One day?
Like 3 brutal days of rehearsal. And then we do like a
3 days without the drummer though.
3 brutal days of me running through the band, like 10-hour days. And then we do like a warm-up, we do like a dress rehearsal the day before, and then we do the gig.
But the drummers come in knowing the track already, yeah?
Drummers, hopefully. That's not always the case.
Can't help it, 'cause I'm creative, know my purpose, driven by a fire. And it seems so amplified. How do you even justify the way that you treat me?
So at the end of this, you'll be able to, if you really listen, when there's gonna be a spot I'll point, you'll hear the room mic go away. Because I mute the vocal mic. So the drums will tighten up here in a second. It's gonna happen right here. Now they're tight. You hear the difference? I mean, it's.
No, but I hear it.
You'd have to really.
Yeah, you don't hear that clap, clap, clap. Yeah, yeah.
But now the hat and the snare are closer now. I think this is the year before. This is at East West. It's Steve Smith.
You know Omar?
I mean, I know he's playing a lot. I mean, he played on so many records I grew up loving, you know. Like,
So we did him,
everything.
Will Kennedy, all those guys. We did quite a few of those old.
I probably know more about American drummers than I do about the British ones. Because, you know, I grew up listening to, yeah. I mean,
That was another British drummer, Kaz. Do you know Kaz Rodriguez? Yeah.
Yeah. But Omar, you know, he played on everything.
Yeah, Omar, yeah.
So many pop hits as well. I mean, Bowie, and Let's Dance. I mean,
He's a part of
Sting's band, yeah.
that famous Sting band with Brad from Marsalis
Yeah, I saw that
and Kenny Kirkland. Yeah.
I saw that live. That was amazing. Dream of the Blue Turtles, that period. That's amazing music.
So good.
Yeah. My hairs are standing on end thinking about it. When they came out, they just kind of kicked everybody because Sting was such a huge star, at least with the biggest band in the world. And then he comes out with the jazz album. It was genius.